Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, been a couple weeks, but the Super Bowl is upon us and we are back. Welcome to the Taking the Points NFL betting show. You're looking spiffy, Coach Jay. I see you adjusting your collar. How you doing today?
Think you're doing very good.
On the
Been a
golf course?
beautiful day here in Florida. Played a little golf. Now I'm getting ready to do a great show with you two clowns one more time.
You've been watching did you watch the Phoenix Open today? I know it got kind of rained out there, but were you watching it?
No, I didn't watch it. I'm going to watch it this weekend. It'll be a great tournament.
How many more years are you golfing every day till you compete in one of those goddamn tournaments, Coach?
That'll never happen.
JJ, what's going on, man? Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
How
Happy
you
Thursday. Pretty good. Magic didn't do anything stupid in the trade deadline. I don't know. Did the Cavaliers do anything?
Not a thing. They stayed pat. They're on a roll, man. On a roll.
You look skinny, JJ. How much you weighing right now?
188 pounds.
Wow.
Dropped
You
30 pounds.
Are you playing flag football with your kid? Is that how you're
No. Well, kind of. I mean, yeah, going around, but no, not really. I did have to run around at a cross country meet because when they start off, they go different corners, so you have to sprint along and follow them too. So I'm like running around with them. I almost died after the first 20 steps, but
I can tell you one thing. You if the Niners lose, you're probably going to die on social media this weekend. But we'll get in. Again, guys, look, it's going to be a quick show. We're going to cover the Super Bowl, give our thoughts, go over some really fun props because you guys know you can bet on just about anything for the Super Bowl. Let's just go ahead and show the standard game lines of we got right here. Putting Patrick Mahomes as an underdog. Patrick Mahomes is 9-3 all-time outright as an underdog. I'll just put it out there right now. I am on the Kansas City Chiefs in this game, JJ. So, look, I'm fading you. I know I mentioned it, right? You have been all over social media, balls on the table for the Niners. But, Coach Day, I'm going to come to you here first before I go to JJ. Let's just call it out right now. Which side for the Super Bowl are you on, Coach? Niners or Chiefs?
I'm on the Chiefs right now. I think, yes, I think Kansas City going to Buffalo, going to Baltimore proves that they're playing the best football at this time. San Francisco did get 2 wins. They sneaked by Green Bay. Detroit kicks a field goal here and there. They don't win. They're not playing their best football right now. I thought at one time during the season, San Francisco had the best team by far, and they were not going to get beat. But right now, I think Kansas City is on that upward trend right now. They're playing with a lot of confidence. They have the best player on the planet, so I'm not going to bet against Patrick Mahomes. I think Kansas City gets it done.
Yeah, so I haven't talked to you since that Lions-Niners game, and I'll get both your thoughts here. But how just upset were you with Dan Campbell? Look, Dan Campbell stuck to his roots, right? He did what he's done all year long, and ultimately what got him to that game, which was going for it on 4th down. But look, you just mentioned it, right? You kick one of the 2 field goals, you probably win the game. So what were your thoughts on him not going for it both times? Josh Reynolds has to catch the football, but I just wish in a game like that, look at the beginning of at the end of the first half, right? He kicked the field goal, took the points. So what were your thoughts in the second half on him going back to how he got there and just going for it on 4th twice?
Well, kudos out to Dan Campbell. He had a great year, did a great job coaching. Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, they did an excellent job coaching. But when you have an opportunity to go up by 3 scores, go from 14 to 17, you got to take that. You got to take the 3 points because 3 points is almost as good as 7 at that point. And to make Brock Purdy one-dimensional in the past, Brock Purdy, Kyle Shanahan, their offense is not made to come back from a 3-score deficit. I thought he should have taken the points. Instead, Brandon Ayuk makes that big play. They score. Then Gibbs fumbles on the next possession, and then it's tied. So, unfortunately, it didn't work out for him, but I think he should have kicked it that one.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. JJ, what side were you on in that game? I don't remember which side were you on. Were you on the Lions or the Niners?
I was on the Niners.
Oh, wait, that's right. You kept every time Lions would get up, weren't you just saying you were going to double and triple down on the Niners because there was just no way they were going to lose?
It was like the perfect live betting time. Yep. And they did the same thing against the Packers too. It was a good time to take them.
You probably made a ton of money off that game.
I didn't give up on them. No. I didn't make that much. Not on the Lions one. I did more on the Packers, but not on the Lions one. That was just a one-time thing. But no, it was a good one. It was a good one for sure.
Very good game. But obviously, we're here to talk about the Super Bowl. And again, JJ, I mentioned it. Your ultimate sell job. The floor is yours. You've been adamant about it for the past week and a half. Why are the 49ers, in your eyes, so clearly winning this football game?
First and foremost, you go to the rosters. I love the San Francisco 49ers roster. I mean, they can hurt you in many ways. I don't think the Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs have played a team with as talented as a roster in the playoffs as the 49ers. And I know the 49ers have looked bad, but you got Ayuk, you got Debo Samuel, you got Christian McCaffrey, you got George Kittle, you got a lot of ways to hurt you. Jennings can play and block and do well, and he can come up with some big catches as well. Looking on the other side of the Kansas City Chiefs, I just feel like they had opportunities to just shut one player down, whether it be on the Ravens, who just has Zay Flowers really at the end of the day. Lamar Jackson got to contain him. The Buffalo Bills, Stephon Diggs hasn't really done anything all year. I mean, that offense didn't look the same either. I'm not discrediting the Chiefs because I think they are playing great football, but I just think the 49ers are a different animal. And just looking at the spread and how these two teams have been playing, I just think it's a little telling that you're still making the 49ers the favorite here because I think a lot of public money is going to be flowing in on the Chiefs money line to get that Patrick Mahomes and best player in the world, persona down on their side with, the plus money. So I just think that's a little strange. This is going to be a great game overall. I think it's going to come down to the wire. I love the under in this one. I think both teams are going to want to keep the other teams off the field. You're going to see a lot of runs. But ultimately, I think the 49ers just overpower them. I just think that they're going to play a different kind of football than what we saw the last couple of weeks. So I just like the Niners here.
I'm with you. It's going to be a fantastic game. I think wire to wire, it's going to be close. Let's pull back those standard game lines one more time. Coach Jay, 47.5. I was looking at this earlier. In the past 10 Super Bowls, right, we've had 5 overs and 5 unders, so it's split right down the nose. At 47.5, Coach Jay, do you lean over or under?
Right now, I'd probably lean under, but I'm concerned about San Fran's defense. JJ mentioned all those cool players, but he didn't mention Ambry Thomas and Jair Brown and Javon Hargrave, who struggled against runs. San Francisco and Lemire Demador. I mean, they have some liabilities on defense, and Green Bay exploited them. Detroit exploited them big time, and I think Kansas City will too. So I think I wanted to say the under because, like JJ said, I think both teams are going to try to run the ball. But the way San Fran has played defense, their lack of pursuit, their poor tackling has been a major issue. And if that continues on in the Super Bowl, Kansas City will score in the 30s. And you'd like to think that San Fran will get 2 or 3 touchdowns as well. So I'm leaning towards the over right now.
Mahomes is the favorite to win the MVP, Randy. I believe he's plus 140 as a front runner. I lean over as well. JJ, 47.5. Do you lean over or do you lean under?
I'm on the under. No, I think it's gonna be a run heavy game. I mean, the one thing that's telling to me, and I like this prop a lot, is Christian McCaffrey's rush attempts is at 18.5 right now. So just seeing that line, it just makes me think that 49ers are going to try to run the ball, milk the clock a little bit, keep Kansas City off the field as much as they can. If they can step up defensively, which I know they can, we saw this defense shut out Philadelphia. I know Philadelphia didn't have a great year, but we saw them shut out other teams in the regular season. They'll get it together. They'll find a way. They got a break in between. I think they'll figure out Kansas City. I think they're pumped for this game. I mean, this is a revenge spot too. Don't forget. I mean, Kansas City beat them like 3 years ago in the Super Bowl. This is their spot now. They got the team back. They finally got a healthy quarterback. I think this is their mouth is watering. I'm not saying that Kansas City's not either because it is a Super Bowl, but I just feel like the 49ers are playing with more of a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can argue with the chip on the shoulder take. Let's pull up player props from JJ's on each side here. And again, I know you had mentioned it. You sent him in earlier. You just were talking about Rashee Rice is one of them we'll get to in a minute, but Christian McCaffrey was one, rushing attempts, as well as Debo Samuel. So for Debo, JJ, are you on the over or under 79.5 total rushing and receiving yards? Again, these are your 2 favorite props that you sent in off air earlier. So Debo, are you on the over or under 79.5?
I'm on the over 79.5. I think that he's going to be used in a way that he hasn't been used yet this season. And we saw it a couple years ago, right? He runs, he can rush the ball, he line up in the backfield, a lot of jet sweeps, he can go over the middle, he can go shallow crosses, he can go deep. And I think he's just going to have a different kind of a game today. I think or on Sunday. I think there's going to be a lot given to him, and I think he hits this over pretty easy. I think he honestly gets in the hundreds combined rushing and receiving. I think he has a huge game, and you can even kind of sprinkle on him to win the MVP at plus 3,000, so plus 2,000 or whatever it is at right now. I really like Debo to actually win MVP as well.
Ryan, if you just tuned in, Coach is on the Chiefs right now as of Thursday. Coach Jay, early MVP candidate for you in this game. If the Chiefs win, do you think it's Patrick Mahomes? Do you think it's Travis Kelce? Could Pacheco be in the running? Where are you leaning? Could Rashee Rice step up and have a big game? Super Bowl MVP, where are you leaning there?
Well, Patrick Mahomes obviously is probably the lowest odds, but what the hell? How do you not pick Patrick? If you're taking Kansas City, you got to take Mahomes.
Right.
If you want a long shot on Kansas City, I'd probably take Chris Jones, because if San Francisco has a weakness on the offensive side of the ball, it's their center and 2 guards. They're not very good. And that's where Chris Jones likes to wreak havoc up the middle. So if you get 2 or 3 sacks, a forced fumble, maybe a scoop and score, something like that, he'd be a long shot pick, but I think he'll do a great job. But Patrick Mahomes would be number 1. Pacheco would be number 2. And then Chris Jones would be number 3 for me.
Yeah, I feel like for me, I could see Sprinkle Pacheco 2+ touchdowns in this game. He might even catch one around the 5-10 yard line. Randy says Pacheco has value. Yeah, I like Pacheco in this game as well. And obviously CMC on the other side, I think is going to have a fantastic game. JJ, this doesn't
I gotta
relate.
say something. I gotta say something though. If you're betting Patrick Mahomes to win the MVP, I think you're stupid. Just because there's so much liability there. Even if the Chiefs win, because they have the same exact odds, right? You got plus 115 for the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. You got plus 115 odds for Patrick Mahomes. I mean, obviously, it just seems like if Kansas City wins this game, it's Patrick Mahomes. So you might as well just take the safer route with the Chiefs money line, right? At the end of the day. So
Yeah, I hear you, but again, right? Like you could see a long shot come into play if Patrick Mahomes.
yeah, for sure.
If it is a low scoring game, you could see. I actually like the Chris Jones example. If he forces a turnover, gets a couple sacks, but you're right. It doesn't make sense. The numbers, the odds are very similar. So you're right there. But JJ, obviously Taylor Swift it relates to the game, but somebody actually sent me a DM. Again, the fan of the show. It's actually one of the good friends of mine, and they said, set the over-under on the amount of times JJ tweets about Taylor Swift during the Super Bowl. So if you had to set that yourself, what would it be? And I want to ask you, let's just have a quick debate. I know, again, guys, loose show, last one. What makes you so outraged about all of the Taylor Swift stuff? I mean,
I'm not outraged. I just think, she's in a weird spot because the NFL is obviously taking advantage of her, and that's why I like the Chiefs leading up into this game. I took the Chiefs every week in the playoffs just because of Taylor Swift, because I feel like getting her at the game and having the refs put the flags in their pocket a little bit for Kansas City, throwing them out more for the other team to get Taylor Swift to where she is. Now she's at the Super Bowl, right? She's there. She's at there. You're going to get more ratings even probably the highest rated Super Bowl yet. But I have nothing against her. I just think it's just I wish they would pan out to more fans. I can see 2 or 3 or 4 times or whatever it is, but constantly up there, and you can tell she's getting a little uncomfortable as well. So it's just uncomfortable to me to kind of watch.
I will say your Twitter is pretty amusing. You got some beers. I know you probably got some Zans in you during the game. I mean, it is fun to watch you tweet on a game where I know you got a lot of money on. Coach Jay, you excited for are you a big fan of the commercials and the halftime shows and stuff like that, Coach, or you just want to watch the game?
I'm more of a game guy, but I'm kind of interested to see. The commercials have been disappointing the last couple of years, in my opinion. I miss the old Miller Lite, less filling, taste great commercials and some of those things. But they got some good ones. And as for JJ, Taylor Swift is the most popular entertainer in the world. They're going to show her. She's fun to watch. I mean, come on, JJ. Take it easy on Taylor Swift, for God's sake.
Tell them. I'm with you. Like, it's one thing.
I kind of want to see her. What the hell? I mean, this lady, she's a billionaire because of her music.
Yeah.
And her brand and all that stuff. I mean, come on.
I could go down the rabbit hole with Taylor Swift, but I'm not going to go there.
Do you think there's odds somewhere out there in the world on if the Chiefs win, Travis Kelce proposing after the game? I know they've not been together too long.
There is odds.
Are you serious?
On certain sports, but yeah, like on Bovada, there's offshore accounts. Yeah, I think Travis Kelce's plus 240 to propose after the Super Bowl to Taylor Swift. I don't see him proposing if they lose.
No way. You can't get on one knee while you can't have Brock Purdy holding up the Lombardi and you're on one knee proposing to Taylor Swift. Like, that wouldn't make any sense. But 240 seems
see that happening, JJ, by the way, what he just said. You really see that happening? Brock Purdy holding up the Lombardi while Patrick Mahomes walks to the locker room? I don't know, man. It's hard for me to envision that. It is.
I can see Christian McCaffrey up on the podium with a hat on, with his pad still on, and holding it though as well.
Yeah. I hear you.
I'm with Jay. I don't want it to seem so simplistic, but it's just like it's such a quarterback-driven league, JJ. And so that's why if I were you, to have my money on Brock Purdy over Patrick Mahomes, I would just be scared. Like I just would.
don't know. I just think of the play calling
Yep.
too. I think these are the two best play callers in the NFL going toe to toe, right at the end of the day. And
Yep.
Brock Purdy and what Kyle Shanahan has done with like Jimmy Garoppolo, Sam Darnold, he's coming in play, Trey Lance early on. I mean, beforehand, but then also some of the other guys they had. I mean, even when guys went down, the next guy up, he still performed well and came up with some opportunities. I just think he has a lot of tricks up his sleeve. I don't think he showed his cards all throughout the playoffs, and I think he's going to have some, especially with Debo. That's why I really like the Debo prop because I think he's going to be utilized like he hasn't been utilized yet this year.
I don't know about not showing your cards. I mean, he was almost out of cards. The Lions were killing him, man. I don't know. I don't know.
What was he? He was 1-16 or 1-20 or whatever it was, and coming from behind wins in the third quarter. He did it twice in the playoffs. Pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. He knows how to rally the troops and get it done. Let's get to some fun props as we continue to close out again what will be a much shorter show than usual. Exact number of touchdowns in this game. These lines are pretty juiced. I mean, you've got 5 touchdowns with the shortest at plus 333, 0-2 at plus 1,000. Coach Jay, if you had to make one selection on this board here, again, keeping in mind over under is 47.5. You did say you're on the over. If you had to make one selection here, how many touchdowns would you say are going to be in this football game?
Let's say 6.
6?
Yeah.
Can you throw the odds back up one more time, Peter? I want to see what the odds were for 6. Plus 375. Okay, JJ, what about you?
I like the 5. I know that's lame as hell, but I like the 5. I think it's gonna be 24-17, something like that. 49ers.
It does seem low scoring. The Chiefs defense is really good, but it's so hard. Like these games, it's a Super Bowl. Anything could happen. And again, like when I was looking at the last 10 over unders, it wasn't like one was close right there to a line. Like it was like 13-10, and then it was like a 42-40 game. So it either seems like really low in recent history or really high. Rashee Rice lines we have over here for JJ as well. You mentioned these earlier in the show, JJ. So I want to get these out there for the people on your Twitter as well. Go ahead and give us, you obviously are on him to score a TD, but for as far as receptions go, over under for Rashee Rice, which way do you lean?
I like his over 6.5. I do. He have a lot of short intermediate routes, screen passes. He'll be used a lot. I mean, that's their go-to. They're not going to use Tony. They're not going to use MVS. They might use Kelsey a little bit, but Patrick Mahomes has got to distribute somewhere. So I think 6.5 is a fair number. I think he's going to have 7, 8. I think he hits it. It's going to be close. But I like Rashee Rice, man. I think he scores a touchdown too. He finds a way to find the end zone as well.
Tony's in the doghouse, man. It doesn't seem like he's getting out of it. I want to have this debate before we go on here. I'm going to come to you, Coach Jay. I've been getting asked about it for the past week and a half, and a lot of other sports radio shows and talk shows on radio have been talking about it. When, if not already, will Patrick Mahomes be in the Tom Brady conversation? Or if not, what does he need to do to get into that conversation? I don't think you can put him there yet, right? He's been dominant 6 years, 6 as a starter, 6 AFC title games, could win his 3rd Super Bowl in 4 years. What is your view on that? And what does he have to do to get into that conversation unless you already think he is?
I think he already is. I really do. I think what he puts on the tape every week in and week out, his consistency, his ability to make plays, his winning percentage as a starting quarterback, what he does in big games, how he plays at such a young age, he's already up there. I mean, I think if he wins 1 or 2 more Super Bowls, he'll be up there with Tom Brady. I mean, Tom Terrific did it for so many years, but this guy is a dominant player at his position. He's doing it year in and year out. He's going to continue to do it as long as he stays healthy. But I would say he probably should have to win another 2 Super Bowls to be talked about as the greatest of all time.
But you said you think he is already in the conversation?
In the conversation, yeah. But he's he's not as good as Tom. I don't think he's as good as Joe right now either. But a couple more years, he'll be just fine.
Yeah, I that's why I think it's crazy to even say he's in the conversation right now.
I promise you this: if Tom Brady was 22 years old and Joe Montana was 22 years old and Patrick Mahomes was 22 years old, and you had your choice of picking one of the 3, who'd you take?
Oh, that's such a tough question.
You take Patrick Mahomes. You always want the guy that can run and make more plays with his legs. They all have great arms. They're all great leaders. They're all very smart and very intelligent. But you want a guy that can do the off-schedule, crazy stuff that Patrick Mahomes' arm talent is sick, and his ability to run and make plays outside the pocket is what separates them from everybody else.
Yeah,
I'm just curious to see what happens if Travis Kelce leaves, what Patrick Mahomes does, because Kelsey is easily one of the top tight ends of all time. I mean, what's
Well,
going to happen when he loses his
Brady
best
had
target?
Gronk, Montana had Rice and John Taylor and Roger Craig and Dwight Clark. I mean,
Who
Brady
did Brady have before Gronk? Because he won like 3 Super Bowls without him, didn't he?
Hernandez.
Jesus.
That's some good players. Randy Moss. I mean, geez, Pete Edelman.
Well,
And
he didn't win it. Right? He didn't win it. Randy got there. He didn't win it.
yeah.
I just think, right, like Tom Brady had 10, like he went 7 for 10 in this Super Bowl. And he had 10 Super Bowl appearances. Like, that is why, JJ, I'll get your thoughts on this now, but like I'm hesitant to put him in the conversation today because is it going to happen? Probably not. But like, what if, even if he wins this Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes, right? He's got 3. What if in the next 5 years he only gets to 1 more or 2 more, right? Like at that point, if he only gets to 2 more, he won't even be in the same conversation as Brady because you have 10 Super Bowl appearances compared to 5 or 6, and he won 7. So I want to get your thoughts, JJ. But again, I just think it's disrespectful to Tom Brady right now to say he's in the conversation. But while on the inverse, I do agree with you, Coach. If you had to pick one at age 22, I think it's blasphemy to use anybody other than Patrick Mahomes. And that's why I don't know why you would say Tom Brady, JJ, at 22. But overall, he's better long term. But again, right now at 22, you'd have to pick Patrick Mahomes.
I mean, we're having this conversation, right? Because Patrick Mahomes is on track to get where Tom Brady is, getting 7 Super Bowls, getting all those appearances, the winning percentage, games played, everything like that. But again, I'm just curious. I mean, we're kind of jumping the gun here. He still has to play a few more seasons. You got to see where he ends up. Travis Kelce, I think he's going to retire after this year. I think this is going to be his last season.
Wow.
So when he's gone, I just really want to see what he can do with some of the receivers that he'll have left over, or what they do in free agency, or who he gets to surround himself with. But again, I'm just curious to see what happens there. So I'm not ready to say that yet. Tom Brady, one of the greatest responses ever to a reporter when he won his 5th Super Bowl, asking about retirement, he said, "Why retire when I have all the answers to the test?" And that stuck with me because he ended up showing up to like 3 more Super Bowls after that. So I love Tom. I love me some Tom Brady.
I do as well. Great quote. Coach Day, do you think the Chiefs will ever, just because of how good Patrick Mahomes is, do you think you'll ever see them have like a Mike Evans or a T. Higgins or a top number big wide receiver 1? Or do you think they'll focus on defense and some other, like Rashee Rice? I mean, he's still young and he's very promising, but do you think we'll ever see the Chiefs end up with a predominant wide receiver 1 on their roster to pair with Patrick Mahomes?
They could, yeah, for sure. People want to play with Patrick Mahomes, so a receiver could take slight pay cut to go there and play with a great player like Patrick Mahomes. So for sure. Kelsey's getting older, but he's still got a lot left in the tank. Rashee Rice is doing a great job of emerging as a number 1 receiver, which is critical for the Chiefs offense. But yes, I could see great players wanting to travel to Kansas City to play with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid if he's still there.
Yeah, it's a scary thought to think about what Patrick Mahomes, the level he would play at with a Mike Evans or a T. Higgins, right? Because, I mean, he's doing this, again, no discredit to Rashee Rice. He's had a fantastic rookie season, but you can only imagine what that would look like. 3 more special props for you guys before we get out of here. Game tied again after 0-0. It's basically a pick 'em. JJ, after the game starts 0-0, do you think down the road you will see the game tied again at some point?
I mean, you would think so, but just the line there, -112 on both sides, is just a little weird. I
It
don't
is
know. I
weird.
would think so.
It
I
is
would think
weird.
they would exchange blows early. I think both teams score in the first quarter, and then tie each other up 7-7. But just seeing that line, I think I would go no. I would go no.
Well, if you think it's going to be a close game throughout, then you should say yes, right?
Well,
You
but
don't
what
think
if someone
it's
kicks a
gonna be
field goal and
you said it's going to be a close game. So if you
if
think it's
someone
going to be
kicks
a
a
close
field
game,
goal,
say
no, but
yes.
if someone kicks a field goal in the first drive and someone scores a touchdown, then you're screwed. Then you
Why?
got to really hope for.
Then they score a
Read
field
stat
goal
and
and
you
the
gotta
other
get
team
tied
scores
after that.
touchdowns 10-10.
Yeah, that's like that's a lot of talk.
Harrison
I don't know.
Butker's going to kick at least 2 or 3 field goals. I mean, that's a good prop bet.
But no, actually, I like that under. I like both kickers unders. Jake Moody can't hit water if he fell out of a boat. Harrison Butker, I feel like the Kansas City Chiefs are going to want to go for it as much as they can, especially when they get inside of San Francisco territory and it's a 4th and 2, 4th and 3 situation. I see him going for it every time. I don't see him picking.
No, this isn't Dan Campbell. This is Andy Reid. He's going to take the points. Harrison Butker's a clutch kicker, man. He's going to take the points, especially the way Steve Spagnuolo's defense is playing. Early on, he's going to take the points. I promise you that. Harrison Butker will kick some field goals.
Unless San Fran opens up with a 3-minute drive, 75-yard touchdown, then they might have issues.
See, look, weird props, weird lines, but at BetJack, we have action on them, and it sparked some pretty interesting conversation. I've got two more longest drives in this football game. Team with the longest drive, odds are, again, they're all pretty even. Chiefs, Niners. Where are you going, JJ? I'm coming back to you. It seems like you would be the one to bet these crazy props. Let's go with time. I can see, again, it looks like when we know, right? It doesn't look like it. We know the Chiefs can have quick hitting drives and chunky yardage. If I was going to pick a side here, I would take the Niners, the favorites, to have the longest drive in the game time-wise, JJ. Are you in unison with that pick?
Yep, I agree with you. Again, it goes back to Christian McCaffrey's 18.5 rushing yards or rushing attempts.
But then
they're going to milk that clock, man. I told you they're going to milk the clock.
I swear to God.
They're going to have a drive where they start on their own like 10, and it goes for like 9 minutes. They don't even get points out of it. Who knows? I could even see that.
Yeah, I could see that. I will say, though, I'm going to take the Chiefs on the longest drive as far as yardage goes. I could see the Chiefs being pinned back at the 10-5. Again, Mahomes rips off a 20-yard pass down the seam. Jay, I see you're laughing. You don't like these.
This is a stupid bet.
You don't like these props, do you?
How do you know who's going to get backed up? What punter is going to pin a team back? That's a.
How do you know? How do you know who's going to win the game?
How do we know it's going to go heads or tails?
Anything. You know what? I'm just laughing at you guys. I could see them being backed up at the 10 and going 90 yards. I think that I would lean to the Chiefs on this one. I think Patrick Mahomes' ability on third down to convert drives and keep drives alive is special, is second to none. So they're going to run the ball, Pacheco. Maybe they'll get a couple 3rd and 4 and 5s, convert, bang, scramble, first down, bang, clock churning at the 30, the 20, the 25, the 15, the 10. Yes, Chiefs will get the longest drive and the longest possession.
Note to self, Coach Jay Gruden is not a fan of the weird props. He just wants to throw a couple thousand on who's going to win the game and drink a couple beers and call it a day. JJ, again, these props that I'm about to mention aren't available with BetJack, but, I mean, Gatorade color, first song at halftime. Do you have these in your arsenal?
Of course I do. I mean, come on. Silly question.
It was funny. On Radio Row, they were actually asking, like I believe it was courtesy of Jack Settleman. He was asking Kyle Shanahan what his favorite color of Gatorade was. You said you're going to take him in your arsenal. So what's the color of Gatorade going to be at the end of the game?
Orange. Orange goes good with red. It's a good mix of the red colors for both teams. It makes a good photo opportunity. So I go orange on the Gatorade. One of the prop bets that you didn't mention, they have first product shown on a commercial. And they have head-to-heads on all of them. The one I like the most was either beer or car. What shows first? I would probably go beer there.
See, I got to deflect.
How about first animal? What's the first animal you'll see?
Like rabbit.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I sounded silly talking about the one prop, but like when you say I like beer, or like, are you actually researching this, or are you just flipping a coin and making your pick?
Well, I mean, if you think about, a car's tough because it could be a car in a beer commercial. So it's got to be like a beer shown, I feel like. So if the car comes up first, I feel like I win. There could be a lot of freaking like going back and forth with customer service, seeing if you really won the bet or not. But yeah.
We're going to make Coach Day drive his golf cart off the course tomorrow with these weird props. Last one, and then we'll get final score predictions, and we'll call it a day and get out of here. Last scores play. There's another weird prop. Final play of the game to be a quarterback kneel. Coach Jay, I'm going to make you answer this one. You think we get a kneel out, or do you think we get down to the wire plays till the very end?
I think we get a kneel out. Kansas City kneels it with a 10-point lead to end the game in the Super Bowl. And Taylor Swift coming down on the field, giving Travis a big hug for JJ. And Patrick Mahomes hoisting that Lombardi trophy. And Andy Reid and Isaiah Pacheco. Yes, and Chris Jones may be holding up the MVP trophy. Who knows, JJ? I think it's going to be a kneel down.
JJ, are we getting a kneel out, or are we getting a down-to-the-wire finish with big plays?
First and foremost, one of the worst things ever to experience is the drive of shame. If you lose at the casino or sportsbook and you got to drive home and you just like think to yourself all that. That's going to be Taylor Swift on her jet back to Japan. She's going to be having the fly of shame on Super Bowl Sunday. She's got to go back.
She'll be that upset.
She's going to be up. She'll be upset a little bit. So they're losing. I got 24. I got 24-17 49ers. I do think the 49ers will kneel out the clock, and they ultimately walk away with the victory.
What's your final score prediction, Coach Jay?
I
Final
got 30-21.
30-21.
Kansas
All right,
City Chiefs.
I'm going to go 38-28.
Damn.
Chiefs win. High scoring
There's
game.
there's some interesting bets. If you think it's going to be a high scoring game like that, now you could take teams that score over 25 points each, over 20 each, over 30 each. So take a look at those as well.
You sent a team total in earlier today. What was that? And what side are you on?
Under 24.5 for the Chiefs. So you can, on the Bet Jack app, you can scroll it over a little bit. It's at 23.5, but that field goal is always fun, to not have 24.5 under 24 points. I like that.
Do me a favor, JJ, before we go, have your wife have the camera rolling like this when the Chiefs win and all of the above that your dad just mentioned happen. I want to see your face when Taylor Swift is down there on the field. They're celebrating that trophy. Have her take a video because I'm going to want to see that. Because, again, it sounds like you got a lot of units on the Niners. So you might be eating ramen until we do this show again in 2024, 2025 if the Chiefs win this game.
It was always the Niners, man. It was always the Niners.
All right, boys. I appreciate you hopping on. Again, everybody enjoy the Super Bowl. We're going to track. Better believe I'm tracking all of our picks, even for these weird props, Gatorade, color, song, you name it. And we'll circle back at some point, see how we did. But, boys, it was a pleasure. First season. I appreciate you guys. Go Chiefs, and we'll see you guys soon.